Alright, hello YouTubers. It's been a very long time since I've done a video, but today I am here with you with a brand new game, a game beta I recently got into, a game by the name of Wargame, European Escalation. This game is developed by Eugen Studios, one of my favorite game developers. They made Act of War, one of my favorite of all time RTSs, and they made, if you've played it, it recently came out, R.U.S.E. This game is a Cold War, like 1975 to 85 simulator that on a strategic big scale simulates full-scale conflict between NATO and Warsaw Pact forces during this time period. It is very realistic and it is quite a good game. It uses the same engine, the R.U.S.E engine, as R.U.S.E, and it is a very similar game to R.U.S.E in which you must capture territories to win, but it doesn't have all the gimmicks like the ruses that R.U.S.E had. In my opinion, I've only played 2 games of it, so this is very much a first look. It is a very good game and I like it quite a lot. It is a lot more strategic than Men of War, I'm going to tell you that right now, but I like it simply because of the concept. The Cold War is one of my favorite time periods of all time, and the realism and the effort put into this game just seems to be phenomenal. In this game right here, I'm playing with my friend J-Bob, and we are playing as the Warsaw Pact against NATO, and this is the first game I've ever played pretty much. And this is the deployment phase of the game. At the beginning of every game, you, with the points, the point counter in the corner there, you pick what you want. You click and drag your units or hold control, and you click to place them on the battlefield using as much points as you have. At the beginning before each game starts, you can customize your army with what's called a deck, and you buy units using command points that you get by playing the game. You get these command points and you can unlock new types of units and upgrades for them. So at the very beginning of the game, you start with a relatively stock army. As you can see, I have T-62 tanks, which are they're okay during the early mid-Cold War, they're 1960s or circa, but by the time this is 70s, 80s or whatever, you can have much better equipment than the T-62. So they start you out with just okay equipment that's not the greatest, but it's good enough to get the job done. I have BTR-60s with infantry in them, anti-tank infantry in them, and I also have some BMPs that have infantry in them, and a few Mi-24 Hinds, although they're the early A version. And the most important part is the UAZ command vehicles. In this game, the objective of the game is to destroy all the enemy's command vehicles, or to capture as many zones as you can and hold them for the longest period of time to reach the score limit. To capture a zone, you have to get your command vehicle, which is a very small, lightly armored jeep that you need to defend very well, and place it in one of the zones and hide it in one of the forests. It must stop, and then it will not move in the zone in order for the zone to be captured, and your command unit has to stay in the zone in order for you to capture it. Yeah, command units are very expensive, and they're quite vulnerable, so you got to keep them covered. Oh, and as you can see here, my ally bought T-34-85s. Now I know what you're thinking. What's a World War II tank doing in this game? Well, they're modernized T-34s, and they're very cheap. And considering that the NATO Warsaw, or the NATO tank at this time, the Leopard 1, has very, very poor armor, a T-34 can actually destroy a Leopard 1. I know what you're thinking. That sounds retarded, but it's the truth. The Leopard 1 was designed to be fast and have a powerful gun, not to have armor. So, I know what you're thinking. You're like, what? But it's true. You can spam T-34s in this game if you want, and it's hilarious. And you might think it's stupid, but it's true. So right here, the game has finally got underway, and I'm moving my units into position. You click on them and you select them, and it gives you information about them as you mouse over them, like their condition, their morale, their ammo, their fuel, their weapons. You can tell your units to use only certain kind of weapons if you want, and their morale will go up, and you have to refuel and resupply your units with supply trucks in case they run out. So it definitely does have a logistical bend to it. You can't just move your units every which way if you want. And right here you can see I'm zooming in, and if you zoom in, the R.U.S.E zoom engine does a very, very good idea, or a very, very good job of detail up close. And I'm running it. I still have my GTX 260, which is an old video card by this point in time. It was brand new about 2 years ago. But by this point in time, it's old, but the game still looks great. And you can zoom all the way out. I think I did it a little bit earlier on this video, but there is a strategic zoom in a way. Like if you've ever played Supreme Commander, if you zoom all the way out, you can see where all your units are and all your allies' units, and it will represent your units with, instead of the little nameplate, it'll have a NATO-style symbol. So if you know the NATO military symbols for infantry, which is I think a circle, that's what it'll be. And I mean, if you have no idea about what any of the units in this game do, you can always look at the armory, which will tell you what various units can do. And I have Cold War military knowledge, which is why I know about all these units, but you might not, so check out the armory. Right here, here's some of my allies in combat. Right here, his T-34s are getting hit by enemy artillery, and he's firing on some enemy AA guns, and his BMPs defeated some enemy infantry. And as you can see, it says right there, like, failure and whatnot. Each of the units is very realistically modeled and simulated, and a single hit can, like, cause various kinds of damage to each unit. So, like, it might knock out a component, or it might not, or depending on the shot, it might not penetrate. And yeah, so it's very realistically modeled up close. So right there I have my Mi-24 Hind helicopters. I'm moving them up. The 2S3 Akatsiya, I think that's how you pronounce it. Those are self-propelled artillery, 152 millimeter. BTR-60 PAIs, those are armored personnel carriers with anti-tank infantry in them. And here, the enemy right here is moving up a whole bunch of Leopard 1s, which, as I said earlier, are West German early mid-1960s tanks. They're powerful, but they have very poor armor. Right here, my allies' BTR-60s are shooting at them futilely with their machine guns. And my ally right here has some T-80Bs, which are extremely modern, like 1980. They have missiles, launch missiles through their cannons, and have very powerful optics and armor, and they are in every way superior to the Leopard 1A1, which is early 60s technology. So those T-80s will most likely massacre those Leopards, as T-80s are also very expensive, and you cannot buy nearly as many of them. So if you want in this game, you can choose quantity over quality, or you cannot. You only have a certain amount of deployment points in the game, so you have to choose how you want to base your army. And in a way, it's kind of like World and Conflict, where you have to choose a role, but in this game, it's a deck. So before the game, you have a deck that you customize, and if you want to customize it more towards armor or artillery, armor or artillery or infantry or like special forces, you have to choose how you want, like which units you want in your army, and if you would want to deploy them more in armor or more so in infantry, right? So you have to choose, and in a way, you can coordinate with your allies if you have a team and say, okay, I'm gonna buy this shit, you buy this shit. So in a way, you can coordinate it in that way, and it is very, very good in that regard. So right here, I just found out that you had to keep your command vehicles in the point in order to capture them. I simply did not know that, so now I'm just panicking to keep all these points because I actually don't own any of them. And your command vehicle also has to stop in the zone in order for you to have it held. I didn't know that either. My ally on the right here, there's some Marder 1s, West German light APCs, and there's a command vehicle that's out in the open. Never leave your command vehicles in the open either. That is complete suicide. You have to keep them resupplied at all times, or like hid at all times. And right there it says like forest dense, heavy cover. Oh yeah, and right there I zoomed out it, and as you can see, those are the symbols, the NATO symbols that I was talking about. When you zoom all the way out, it will show you. And I'm right here, I zoomed in to check out the Hinds, and I'm moving them over into the upper zone because I suspect that the enemies have a command vehicle in that area. I suspect that they don't have very many units left, but they just have a command vehicle hanging out. And I was actually right, they only have a forward operating base and another unit which is not identified right now. But yes, it was a command vehicle. So yes, my Mi-24s just blew up a command vehicle, but now they have free reign to blow up the enemy's forward operating base if they wish. So right now, we're actually winning this battle by like far. I have taken very few casualties, and J-Bob is doing very, very well, and I just told my Hind to attack the enemy forward operating base. Right there it says minimal range, so if your unit is not within ideal range, it will give that, and then if it is, it'll say like within range and whatnot. And you might see the weapon icons popping up on the bottom side of the screen, but yeah, and right there I'm shooting some rockets at it, and you can see the explosion effects, which are pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I think the graphics are definitely improved over World and Conflict, which I've played a few years back. I've never made any videos of World and Conflict, but I'd say the graphics are definitely better. I'd just say the whole game is better than World and Conflict, to be honest with you. It's just a much more like realistic feel to it. Right there, one of my BTRs takes a hit, but I deployed my faggot, which is a hit faggot. I know what you're thinking. It's an anti-tank missile team, AT-4 faggot. And right there, those M113s just get smoked by ATGMs, and 3 of them are just dead instantly. So that's the power of an anti-tank team right there. But yes, it is actually called the faggot, the FAGOT, which is the NATO designation for the AT-4 anti-tank missile. And right here, the enemy tried to buy some flak panzers to try and shoot down my Hinds, and I think one of them took a critical hit, but I'm telling him to run away so he doesn't die. Right here I have my BMPs, I'm moving them up a little bit, and my faggot launchers are firing more anti-tank missiles. I have my T-62s on the left, and I outnumber him quite a bit right now. I know you're thinking the BMP-3 is like an armored personnel carrier, what is it doing? But it actually does have anti-tank capability. It carries an 83 Malika Seger anti-tank guided missile, and its 73mm gun, although pretty inaccurate, fires an RPG-like projectile which can destroy the Leopard 1, which is terribly armored, as I said before. Right there, one of my hind spots the enemy command vehicle, so I'm going to try to get my hind to pick it off. Like his command vehicle simply unguarded, and as I said before, command vehicles are vital to winning the game. So he's firing his 50 caliber machine gun at it, and it blew him up with rockets. Yep, right there, he dies. So they're all done, and once the enemy's out of command vehicles, you win the game. So that's basically the goal: is to destroy all the enemy's command vehicles, or to get hold all the zones, more zones than the enemy for a certain amount of time. Right there, an anti-tank missile narrowly misses the enemy Leopards. And my allies, T-34s, are still battling. Like, I know, I'm just saying, T-34s in a Cold War game, like, I mean, when I'm talking about this shit, it just makes me always think, like, am I saying this wrong? But no, they really are T-34s. Like, what the hell, right? Like, I mean, it's just weird. So right there, this M113 is stunned and it blows up. Very good graphics there as you zoom in, but honestly, I don't have time to look at the graphics, and I don't think you will either. If you're commanding your forces like in a good way, you probably won't have time to look around at all the pretty colors. But yeah, so this game is almost over at this point. The enemy is really on the ropes, and for one of my first games that I've ever played, J-Bob had a bit of experience, so he showed me how the game worked. But at this point, it was yeah, we're basically done. I bought another command UAZ because I had a little bit of points left over. And I'm going to move them to zone number 2 because we don't have that one captured in particular. And I'm going to move up the rest of my forces because they're just kind of sitting around right now, and I want to get rid of the rest of the units. Oh, I should probably quickly talk about the sides as well. When you customize your army, you can choose from a variety of units. You can, if you're Warsaw Pact, you can choose from Communist Czechoslovakia, People's Republic of Poland, East Germany, and the Soviet Union. All of them have different units which have different strengths, but right now I'm just using Soviet units. And in your deck you can choose whatever kind of units you want. And right there I find the last enemy's command vehicle, which upon being destroyed should end the game. Oh, USA quickly, they have French, UK, West German, and United States is the NATO forces. So right here I won the game, and these are all the stats right here, and I really like this game. I think it's in beta right now. You should pick it up when it comes out in a week or two, and I'm definitely going to be doing more videos on this though. So I thank you for watching, and have a nice day.